Every day we make choices, but what if one of the most expensive, stressful, and climate changing choices of our lives isn't really a choice at all? America's road system helped fuel our economic miracle, connecting cities, enabling trade, and powering growth. But maintaining 4 million miles of pavement now costs us billions. In 2023, the Federal Highway Administration said that 39% of major U.S. routes remain in poor condition, while driving costs the average motorist $1,400 a year in repairs and lost time. According to the American Society, our gas taxes haven't been raised since 1993, losing 80% of their value. And the Highway Trust Fund is projected to run $241 billion short by 2033 without reform. Still, many of us value our cars. I know many of you think driving is convenient, comfortable, or simply necessary. I understand your view, but this isn't anti car, it's about choice. Because when driving is the only option, it's dependency, not freedom. So what I'm trying to get towards today is that you don't have to give up your car. Instead, imagine a system where you can still drive and also walk, bike, or take the bus safely and affordably to where you go if you didn't want to drive. It's just actually a system we once had and we can have again. So today I'll explain why car culture is faltering, how it was intentionally designed this way, what it cost us in climate, health, and mobility, emerging solutions and policy, and what we can do as citizens and students. So let's begin with the critical truth. Driving isn't freedom, it's the only realistic option in the United States. Many of you see driving as personal control or convenience. In Oklahoma, the first thing a lot of us do, and I did myself when we turned 16, is start driving ourselves to school, sports practices, doctor's appointments, etc. Many Americans feel the freedom to leave and drive wherever they need to go and in their own private vehicle. But if you did not start driving immediately, you realized that you had to rely on your friends and family to take you because you had no other choice to drive if you live in Oklahoma and in many parts of the United States. The only reliable commute is a car ride, and America has normalized that. Studies on motonormativity, for instance, by popular researcher Ian Walker, shows that we've been conditioned over generations to view driving as the default, even when it harms us. But not all countries are that way. And hopefully, you realize the meaning of real mobility. Driving forces you to plan your day around driving. You know, you have to plan around traffic, long conditions, uh, weather, finding parking at where you're going to go, um, when other forms of transportation do not. So, our system was deliberately designed this way. Car dominance wasn't always inevitable, it was engineered. Historian Peter Norton shows in his book called Fighting Traffic that in the early 20th century, streets were public spaces where uh, shared by all users, including horses and streetcars and people. But what he calls motordom or the motor kingdom pushed for redesigns for the automobile. This includes lobbyists and companies. One example is in 1922, an engineering magazine um, funded by Edward Merrin released a statement that after rising pedestrian fatalities, that the roads should not have pedestrians anymore. It should only be cars. Um, and that's how we basically started to develop this way. As a result, we have this narrative that Americans have always preferred cars and infrastructure was only ever built for cars. This leads, of course, to suburban development and large parking lots, wide roads, and highways near city centers. Everything that keeps us in our cars and makes us spread out far, so we have no choice but to continue driving and not use other forms of public transit that can't reach as far. According to the EPA, the transportation now accounts for the largest source of US greenhouse gas emissions, of course, led by passenger vehicles. And a lot of the policy effort you would see is promoting electric vehicles as being the greener option. But of course, this does not solve the traffic fatalities and sedentary lifestyle that still being in a car brings, even though it's better for the climate. You're still, America is still car centric. Um, its Department of Transportation also notes that 42,000 Americans die annually in car crashes, about the same number killed by guns. And countries with investment in walkable infrastructure see far fewer deaths. Car dependency also fuels obesity, heart disease, and chronic stress because the only time many Americans spend not in their car or walking is when they're in a parking lot and having to walk to the store. As you can see, our neighborhoods weren't built that way in America. In Northwest Oklahoma City, you would have to walk across a four-lane uh, street slash road or six-lane expressway to get where you needed because things are separated by large, wide roads. So we can actually build better systems. Many students have wondered whether safer walking and biking is possible, and the answer is yes. Installing protected bike lanes, improving sidewalks and crosswalks, and making buses frequent and reliable are proven strategies because you're removing the induced demand of all these cars coming through and giving that space back to pedestrians and lowering the traffic demand through the city. One student also mentioned that OU's Lloyd Noble parking buses only run over every 30 minutes, which is insufficient. Reliable frequency is also foundational to transit take-up. The Federal Infrastructure Law of 2021 actually allocated billions of dollars to public transit, but a disproportionate amount went to roads, which roughly 70 billion out of 1.2 trillion went to highways. So what can you do? You don't have to wait on Congress to act on it. Honestly, quite frankly, they won't if there's no public push for public transit. So what you can do is actually attend your city's planning public comment section sessions and share your experience with mobility constraints. You can support bike, walk, and transit initiatives through petitions or student groups. You can contact your representatives and emphasize your demand for multimodal infrastructure, not just roads, because those, of course, road diets are easy to implement. And challenge the social norm. Don't normalize the stress, danger, and depth that come with mobility in the United States. It's not about, again, giving up your cars. It's about demanding better choices so that we are less dependent. Thank you.